Soft ambient piano music fades in, birds chirping, the early morning breeze whispers through the leaves. Narrator VO. Have you ever stood in the middle of chaos, with every eye watching you, every word trying to tear you apart, and still, you chose to say nothing? This is the story of a man named Ryan, and how the strength of his silence changed not only his life, but the lives of everyone who witnessed it. It was just another Monday morning. The sun had barely stretched across the sky, when Ryan stepped into the main office of Everhill Publishing House. He was known for his consistency, always early, always professional, always composed. But what people didn't see was the war he fought inside. For the past 5 months, Ryan had been quietly enduring emotional storms, gossip, backbiting, manipulation, and constant passive aggression from a colleague named Mira. She wasn't always this way. Once, they were friends. Once, they shared lunches and inside jokes. But success changes people. And when Ryan's book proposal, an idea she'd once laughed at, was selected by the board, something inside her turned bitter. She smiled in front of him, but behind the smile, she sharpened daggers. Sound, clock ticking, murmurs of office workers chatting faded. That morning, Ryan sat at his desk, eyes fixed on the final draft of his manuscript. The deadline was near, and his fingers danced across the keyboard with purpose. Then, it happened. The glass door swung open. Mira walked in, heels clicking like a war drum, and her voice echoed, slicing through the silence like ice. You think you're better than us, Ryan? The entire office froze. Heads turned. Mugs were placed down. Even the printer, as if sensing the tension, paused for a breath. Ryan didn't look up. He took a soft breath and kept typing. You think your silence makes you wise? Or do you just think you're too good to respond to people beneath you? She snapped, her voice growing louder. She had planned this, waited for the right moment, chosen the exact time when the team would be present. The editors would be watching, and the senior manager, Mr. Hader, would be walking in behind her. Sound, echo of footsteps, murmurs of what's happening in the background. Still, Ryan didn't flinch. He calmly finished his sentence, saved the document, closed his laptop, and stood. Music slowly shifts. Low cello builds a subtle tension. He looked at her, not with anger, not with contempt, but with the kind of quiet understanding that pierced deeper than any retort. Then, gently, he spoke. Mira, I'm sorry if my presence threatens you, but I won't entertain disrespect, not yours, not anyone's. You may speak your truth, but you won't steal my peace. The words were soft, but their weight was thunderous. Mira's face flushed red, not from victory, but from confusion. She had expected rage, a shout, a breakdown, but not this. Ryan didn't wait for her reply. He simply turned and walked out of the room. Scene opens with calm instrumental music, a soft guitar strum with distant wind chimes. Narrator VO. They say storms pass, but the way you weather them is what people remember. After that unforgettable moment in the office, when Ryan chose silence over rage, something shifted. Not just in Mira, not just in the people watching, but in the atmosphere itself. A change in the air. The next day was unusually quiet. Mira came to work early, something she hadn't done in months. She didn't wear her usual heels that echoed with pride. She wore flats and humility. She walked straight to Ryan's desk, and without needing an audience, whispered, "You inspired me yesterday. Thank you for not humiliating me when I tried to do the same to you." Ryan smiled softly. It's not about proving people wrong, Mira. It's about choosing who you want to be, even when you're tested. She nodded, and for the first time in a long time really listened. Effects, keyboard typing, soft ambient office sounds. As the week unfolded, so did the ripple effects. One by one, colleagues began to notice something strange. The usual gossip group at the coffee machine, silent. The sarcastic Slack messages that Mira once posted, replaced with helpful suggestions. Even Mr. Hader, who was usually too busy for team discussions, called for a spontaneous meeting. And that's when everything changed. The quiet revolution. Mr. Hader stood before the team with a thoughtful expression. "You all saw what happened the other day," he said, folding his arms. "But what matters isn't that there was conflict. It's that it was handled with grace, with maturity. That's the culture we need. He paused. So I've decided to launch something new, a personal development series called EQ Hour, every Friday. We'll take an hour off work to explore emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and mindful leadership. Murmurs of surprise filled the room, but Ryan, he just smiled to himself. Not because it boosted his ego, but because something real had been born from silence. The EQ Hour begins. The first session was awkward. People didn't know whether to take it seriously. Some laughed nervously, others sat stiff and skeptical. But Ryan, he was the first to speak. I think most of us are reactive, not because we're bad, but because we've never been taught how to pause. We mistake reacting for strength. But reaction is ease, response takes wisdom.